Hey, beautiful people. My name is Simone Brown from Aspire to Inspire. And my sole purpose in life is to aspire to inspire you. And I do this through my parent coaching. I do this through my work as a youth mentor and my work as a motivational speaker. So I became a parent coach because I was experiencing some difficulties with my son when he was around 12, and those difficulties had come about through a co-parenting relationship. And as a mother, I recognized that I spent so much time with my son. I was the disciplinarian, I was the authoritarian. However, when he went to his dad's, he had so much fun. So when he would come back and then we would get into this strict routine, not so strict, but we would get into this routine, he would lash out, oh, at my dad, it's fun, it's this, that, and the other. And that really struck a chord with me. So I did go on a journey into how I could better manage this parent-child relationship between me and my son. So as I said, my name is Simone. I'm a parent coach, youth mentor and speaker. I came about through this role through my education within individual and community empowerment. I have always had an innate desire to empower others. I believe that empowered people empower communities, empower generations, and so forth and so forth and so forth. So my work has always been in the community. I care about the community. And as somebody who became a mum at a relatively young age, I have poured so much into working with parents, single parents I started out working with, and then I moved on to working with just parents and young people as well. So I want to tell you a little more about what you're going to expect throughout this feature on Child of God Online, and you'll be finding out more about my personal journey around becoming a parenting coach. And the reason why I want to share that aspect of the journey with you is because I know that it's something that most parents do have a ism with. There is no right or wrong way to parent, but you definitely don't get a manual and say, this is how it's done. And even if you're not a parent, the tools, the techniques, and the information that you would get through this feature will definitely help you to become a great auntie, a great uncle, and a great mom or dad should that time happen. All right, so I just want to take you on what you're going to expect throughout the course of this feature. So I'm going to be talking about the building blocks of success. Now, the building blocks of success are something that I look at in terms of how we can create a generation that will live a violence-free and a healthy lifestyle. Okay, so it's the building blocks of success. The reason why we have the building blocks of success is because we want to ensure that our children and the next generation are going to be living a violence-free and a healthy lifestyle. So how do we do this? Well, the first step on the building block is around our ethnic, cultural, and spiritual roots. I just call them the roots, the foundations, the who am I, the essence, the core of who we are. Okay, now when we look at the ethnic, cultural, and spiritual roots, it really is a time in which we want to go back. We're going back to the way that we were raised, what the community, what society was like when we were brought up. What values did we take away from that? What principles did we get from that? What culturally did we do as a family, as a unit? All right. And then once we kind of have this understanding ethnically, culturally, and spiritually of who we are, we have a now new sense of identity, because it's likely that we don't really revisit our youth because it might have been traumatic, but we don't really dig deep into our youth in that respect. Okay, and that's what we're going to be doing throughout this journey. Now, the reason why we do that, because if you are a parent, or maybe you are in a parenting capacity, you would want to establish a relationship with whoever it is that you're parenting. Just look at it like if you was a teacher and you have multiple students. You may see a child who's struggling. You might identify a child who is struggling. Now, you want to have a relationship with that child or have some rapport with that child so that they will feel comfortable to share with you if they're having any difficulties, whether it be personally or educationally. And we call that the parent-child relationship. You could call it the teacher-student relationship. You could call it the partner-to-partner relationship. Either way, it takes a lot of work and time to grow the parent-child, parent-parent, teacher-student relationship. And when we look at how we grow this relationship, it really is through communication, our ability to be present, and the amount of time that we're willing to invest in the parent-child relationship, teacher-student relationship, and parent-to-parent or husband-to-wife, etc., etc. And again, the way in which you form relationships will be indicative of how you were brought up. So it will always go back to the foundation, the way in which we build rapport, establish relationships, or, our need to be independent. You will be able to find all the answers to that within the first building block, which is the ethnic, cultural, and spiritual roots. So we'll be talking about that over the first week, and then we'll look at the parent-child relationship. Now, once we have a relationship with somebody, you are in a better position to discipline, give advice, okay? Now that is the thinking, this is the logic behind establishing a relationship, okay? The logic behind establishing the relationship is knowing who you are so that you can set the appropriate boundaries. Once you have built this rapport, you are now in a position to make suggestions, give advice, discipline, etc. And we look at this through the eyes of a parent-teacher and parent modeling. So the way in which our children behave, the way in which most children behave, is really based off their environment, okay? If I see a child acting up, I probably want to be looking to the parents, okay? And that's not always the case, but it's more than likely the case, okay? Now, when we look at parent teaching, it's not just the family who teaches. The teachers teach, friends teach, the community teaches, and society also. So our children are growing up, they're going through these stages of development where they're trying to navigate through society, teachers, my parents, my friends, society, teachers, parents, my friends, with no foundation. Where's the foundation? Our children always need a foundation, and not just children. Everything that I'm saying applies to adults as well. We need to look at the foundation so that our children will have a very strong foundation and that they would be able to navigate through society, community, friends, family, etc. They will always come back to the foundation that you presented to them when you was forming that parent-child relationship. And don't get me wrong, children will go off and they'll do whatever. They're going to test the waters. They're going to want to liberate themselves and free themselves. But we want them to be able to do that, setting boundaries that don't cross their values. And they will develop their own values as they grow older. But a part of that, you want it to be the values that you have passed on to your child. Now, when we're able to know who we are first, and share that with somebody else by forming a relationship, building rapport, we can then have discussions around the most difficult things, okay? We're able to discipline, we're able to teach, we're able to do so much because we have this relationship. And when we do all of that as parents, what we actually build in within our children is something that we call the 3 S's. The 3 S's, the childhood characteristics. Now, the 3 S's are a high level of self-esteem, self-discipline, and social skills. High self-esteem, self-discipline, and social skills. Now, we want our children to have a high level of self-esteem, or rather an accurate self-esteem, and that accurate self-esteem will be based on the bottom foundation, the bottom building block, the ethnic, cultural, spiritual roots. Ethnically, they will be proud to embrace who they are. Culturally, they will love the way in which they do things. They will value the way other people do things as well, right? And spiritually, whatever your faith may be, they will hold on to that, okay? And then we look at self-discipline. We want our children to be self-disciplined. Hey, we as adults want to become more self-disciplined. How do we do that? We do that by putting little things in place, little activities in place to help build their self-discipline. And you will learn more about that over the course of this feature. All right. Now, when we talk about self-discipline, we want our children to do what's right when we are not there. Yeah. We want our children to do what is right even when we are not present. We want them to put away short-term fun, short-term gain for long-term results, right? And the more that we have this relationship with our children, the more that we can highlight the importance of self-discipline. And the third and final one is social skills. We want our children to engage, we want our children to form friendships, we want them to be able to set in boundaries, communicate, teamwork, etc., etc. So we're going to learn more about how we can increase our children's social skills throughout the course of this feature. Now, one of the ways that we embed the learning within each building block or each tier is through the rites of passage. So there's many things that your parents may have taught you. There's many things that my parents may have taught me, but there was a few things that my parents didn't teach me. So I haven't really had a social rite of passage in those areas. I had to do that on my own. So if we can know what activities, what resources, and what things that we can do with our children to navigate them through the rites of passage, then our children will most definitely lead a violence-free, healthy lifestyle. So when I talk about the rites of passage, because I may have just thrown some of you off, is imagine going into a mansion. Now, in the mansion, of course, there's multiple rooms, but you will not have access to room number 2 if you haven't learned the life skills that are in room number 1. So let's just say the first life skill that we want our children to learn is a personal rite of passage. So a personal rite of passage could simply just mean in taking care of themselves, brushing their teeth, spreading their bed, doing the dishes, right? And a personal rite of passage could also be, you know what, this is my space, and if somebody comes into my space, I would feel confident enough to say, you're in my space and this is how it's making me feel. Okay, so once we've kind of put in some activities in place, put some learning in place, and we're developing this relationship around the personal rites of passage, you can say, you know what, I feel that my child is confident in recognizing their personal space, in creating a personal space for themselves. So you know what, I'm thinking maybe we need to look at the mental rite of passage, because when it comes to completing a task, they feel quite challenged and they want to give up. So maybe we can do some work around the mental rite of passage. And there's actually 10 rites of passages that we will go throughout this feature. So, I mean, it's quite a lot that I've managed to get through in the introduction. But let me just repeat it back. My name is Simone of Aspire to Inspire. I'm a parent coach, youth mentor and speaker. And over the course of this feature, we're going to be looking at parenting through reflection. And we'll be doing this through the building blocks of success. So over the first week, we will be looking at the ethnic, cultural and spiritual roots. And this is the who am I? So I've got a task for you guys to go away with and think about. I want you to think about, how was I parented? Who are you? What makes you you? I don't want you to add titles like I'm a doctor, I'm a chef, I'm a teacher, I'm a wife, I'm a husband, etc. I want to know who you are. So for example, I am a motivator, I am an encourager, I am a healer with my words. I like to empower others. So this is who I am. I value family, I value supporting others, and I value my faith in God. So this is what makes me who I am. So I want you guys to think about who you are, and I will catch you on the next episode where we will be talking about roots. Take care, guys, and I'll see you soon.